Welcome to the Azure Information Protection On-Premises Scanner installation video. We'll take you through the main steps you'll need to complete when deploying the AAP scanner on your tenant. If you need more background about AAP, what the scanner does, and the modes it supports, see our Discover and Protect video first, and then come back here when you're ready to deploy. This video covers the most common and straightforward scenario for installing the scanner, where we have admin access for the user to deploy and manage the scanner in a standard environment connected to the internet. For other deployments with limitations on the user account or internet connections, check our documentation for detailed steps and recommendations. The first step is to complete our prerequisites, including deploying the AIP client, opening all required ports and URLs, and preparing a SQL instance. We recommend preparing a checklist of all the settings and details that you'll use in the deployment, such as the SQL database instance name, usernames and passwords, application registrations, and so on. You can find a detailed list of prerequisites in our scanner docs. Once you've prepared this SQL server and deployed the AIP Unified Labeling Client on the machine where you're going to run the scanner server, verify that you have sensitivity labels created in the Microsoft 365 Compliance Center. Publish at least one label to the user account that will be used by the scanner. You must do this even if you're only going to run the scanner in discovery mode for now. Additionally, unless you are planning to use the Discover All Info Type scanner option, make sure to define an auto-labeling rule with the information types you want to discover. Now we'll navigate into the Azure portal and create our scanner cluster. A scanner cluster represents a group of scanner machines that work together to distribute the scan load and complete scans efficiently. The machines in your cluster must be co-located in the same geographical location and must be connected to the same SQL database. At this point, we'll just select Add and give our cluster a name, and log that name in our checklist. Now we'll create a content scan job. We'll set it to run in discovery mode. This means that our policy is not enforced and no files will be changed. They won't be labeled or protected, and the scanner will only report on the types of information discovered. On the repositories pane, we'll add a path to the directory we want to scan. We close the content scan job and then assign it to the cluster we created earlier to connect the two. An optional step that we can take here is to create a network scan job. Network scan jobs enable you to scan your network and find shares to add to your content scan job. Complete this step only if you want to use the AIP Network Discovery service, which does require an additional installation. In our case, we are going to use the Network Discovery service and have our network scan jobs scan a specific range of IP addresses. The AIP scanner is a service and works in non-interactive mode. To enable this, we must have an Azure Active Directory application registration with the relevant rights granted. To create the AAD app, we open the Azure Active Directory Management in the Azure portal and select App Registrations and New Registration. You can use any name you like for the app, but make sure to select Accounts in this Organizational Directory Only option and set the URI to the local host. Select Register when you're done. Note down the app ID and the tenant ID in your checklist. We'll need them later on when we install the scanner on our machine. That's right, we're not quite there yet, but we will be in just a minute. We'll also create a secret for our app to use during authentication. You can set the validity period for the secret as needed for your organization. Copy that secret to your checklist too. It's only available in clear text right now when we create it, and you can't restore it after closing this page. Now we'll grant API permissions to our user from Azure Rights Management. For the user running the scanner service, we'll need delegated read and write permissions. If you want the scanner to be able to inspect all protected files in your tenant, regardless of who the user is, make sure to grant the user with super user rights. Add the permission for the Microsoft Information Protection Sync service. Grant admin consent for those permissions. Now, let's switch to the scanner machine to start running our installation. First, specify the Windows account that's used to run the scanner service. This is the account that has all of the required permissions. Use the get credential command to specify this account using the domain \username format. Run the install AAP scanner command to install and set up the scanner service. Use the name of the cluster that we created earlier. It can take a few minutes until the service is created and the database is populated. Now we'll run the set AAP authentication command using the details of the AAD app that we created earlier. We use the app ID and secret and the tenant ID that we'd noted down in our checklist. We use the delegate user parameter to specify the user where the labels and policies are acquired from. This is the user we published our labels to in the Microsoft 365 Compliance Center. Specify your users here in UPN format. Use the onBehalf parameter to specify the same credentials object as the one we used before with the install AAP scanner command. And now we are done with the scanner installation. To verify that it all got installed correctly, we can use the Start AAP Scanner Diagnostics command. If there are any misconfigurations, we'll get the error details here for any failed tests. No errors here, so we're good to go. Let's also verify our connection back in the Azure portal. We can see that the scanner is installed and idle. That means that it's online and is waiting for scanner instructions. Now we can complete that optional network discovery installation. Go back to your scanner machine and run the install MIP network discovery command. Use the same SQL instance and cluster name that you used to install the scanner, as well as the following two additional accounts. The share admin account, used to get full permissions on the network share you want to scan. This account must have admin rights on your repository. And the public access account you want to use to simulate a weak account access to the share. This account should not be a member of any group except for domain users. Once we complete the network discovery installation, we can jump back to the Azure portal and confirm that the network scan status has also changed to idle and is waiting for instructions. This concludes our scanner installation video. We can run our network scan job to find any repositories that may have sensitive content at risk, add those repositories to our content scan job, and then run the content scan job to discover our sensitive data. Use the Azure Information Protection on-premises scanner to discover insights about your data and help ensure that your sensitive content stays protected.